The only difference between firms and racing is in racing there are no retake. I 32 years in the firm business, attained a decent amount of success in my career. So it's nice to leave your comfort zone once in a while, come back, pursue something where you're a nobody. I mean, here I am a nobody. I always wanted to pursue or become a race car driver. Since I dropped out of school, my parents were very clear about one thing. They said, look Ajith, you either pursue education, academics to at least get a basic degree, or you start work. And it's so strange that we stand here and speak because it's raining, and my first win, or my first podium was in the rain at Donington Park. So
I'm off on a very long drive today to bring you a very special episode of History on Wheels. Talking about wheels, they are a very essential part of a car, and on a long drive, it is critical to have the right set of wheels. Well, the Vredestein Ultra 40 tires that I have on my car today are the perfect companion for this journey. The reason being, the advanced body compound ensures low rolling resistance, which means I will get great efficiency on this drive. And of course, their stiffer sidewalls and shoulders ensure that I have ample grip with a comfortable ride. Well, want to know who's with me on the show today? Let's get going. Welcome to a special episode of History on Wheels from Spa in Belgium. It's super special, not only because I'm at this track and I have Eau Rouge, that corner behind me, but because we have someone very special on our show today. He's known to normally not give interviews. In fact, just last week, his movie was released and it was a certified hit at the box office. It's breaking all records already. Whilst most stars would be soaking in the glory and doing the media rounds, he's doing something quite different. He's attacking tracks across Europe, chasing something else, his other passion, racing. It's a sport that requires discipline, determination, and focus. Now, for someone who's carrying the weight of millions of fans' expectations on his shoulders and is quite the mega star, it's difficult to understand how he can come and do something where he might not be the hero. It requires immense courage. Well, that's what this star has. Whether it's action on the camera or action on the circuit, he never backs down. I'm talking about Thala, none other than Ajith Kumar, the mega star. And we have him on our show today.
What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. Just say the word, baby, I'ma get you right.
Thank you so much, Ajith, for being on History on Wheels, presented to you by Vredestein. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you. First off, I have to thank you profusely because I believe you never give interviews, even for your films. So how did you agree to us?
thank you, Renuka. Thank you for having me on your show. Well, I say this in good spirits. Back home in India, politics, films and cricket is given a lot of attention and exposure by the media, whereas motorsports still have a long way to go. So I thought being a part of this Creventic endurance series, which is again new to all of us, and talking about it would probably create more awareness back home as far as motorsports is concerned.
Where did this passion start, racing?
You know that. But anyway,
Our viewers don't know all of
they
that.
don't know. Okay, my first exposure to motorsports happened when I was probably 5-6 years old. In the mid to late 70s, and my father, my late father, Mr. P.S. Money, who was in the pharmaceutical industry, he worked for a company, a Bombay-based company called Biddle Sawyer Private Limited, and one of his managing directors, like there were three brothers, and one of them, Mr. Vimal Shah, we fondly used to call him Vimal Uncle, and who you know very well as, so he used to race for Mr. Vijay Magar's team.
Correct.
And he was very, very closely associated with your father, who I knew as Chubi Uncle, who I think the audience will now know was one of the leading they were called tuners.
Tuners in those days.
So now you know where it started for us. We would look forward to the first week of February, the first 2 weeks of February, come back from school and eagerly, just have a quick meal and come down and the mechanics would make us a part of, probably give us the engine blocks and all those things to get the carbon tape, give us a petroleum brush. And so that's how it started for us. And when, we would sit inside the car and pretend that we were race car drivers, trying to shift the gears and when it was static, that is how racing started. Somewhere deep down, I think I always wanted to pursue or become a race car driver. But obviously because of, we were also into motorcycles. Like I started riding motorcycles very early in life. So it was either motorcycles or four-wheelers, but I always wanted to be in a race car on a racetrack, and that's how it started.
Did you idolize someone? Like, do you have an idol that in the racing world that you kind of felt like, okay, this is the kind of person I want to be?
My favorite, who I, like you say, idolize is Ayrton Senna. No.
We can shake hands on that. My absolute idol too. But then whose idol isn't he?
But then I don't wish to be unfair to the other drivers. They're all the best drivers in the world. But something about Ayrton Senna, even off the racing car, his interviews and there was, even as a person, I think he kind of, motivated me in many ways. And not just motorsports, his life in general.
But you said you have this big passion for bikes as well. Did you ever consider racing bikes?
I started racing bikes because it was more affordable. And I'm very grateful that I had parents who didn't oppose my participation. But my father was very honest. He said, look, Ajith, it's a very expensive sport. I may not be able to support you. But if you can find your sponsors, if you can find a way around it, go ahead. Since I dropped out of school, my parents were very clear about one thing. They said, look, Ajith, you either pursue education, academics to at least get a basic degree, or you start work. You will not, no wasting time. I chose the latter. I
chose to work.
I chose to work, and that's how it all started. I had a 6 month stint with them, and I knew a lot about motorcycles, and then in 1990, when the racing scene moved from Sholavaram and they had the inaugural Grand Prix at Sri Perumbudur, and that's where I made my debut it was, I think, Group C up to 110cc modified motorcycles.
Okay.
I did pretty well. I think I remember we had an endurance race sometime in September of 1990.
Yeah.
It was a 2-hour endurance race and I finished 5th.
Amazing.
And I remember Mr. Subhash Chandra Bose walking to my pits, and I was young, barely 18 years old, and he said, Ajith, you should pursue motorsports. It's there in you.
And you went on to race a lot. You had many successes, balancing this crazy film career as well as racing. At some points of time, you did BMW Asia, you did F3, the British F3, you did Formula 2 as well, you raced in India as well. How did you manage to do all of that?
Firstly,
neither of them is easy.
Firstly, thanks to the film industry. If not for the what should I say, the right word would be, it got me to a stage in my life where I could fund myself and pursue my passion for motorsports. And I remember one thing that my father told me very clearly, and we started the day you earn your bread and butter, you can do whatever you want to. So when I decided to start racing again in 2002, he had nothing to say. In fact, I remember a lot of friends and family, and extended family who tried to speak sense according to them, put some sense into me. I remember my father standing up for me. He says, no, I remember telling my son that, the day he makes his own money, he earns his own, he's free to do what he wants to, and he's achieved a decent amount of, success. So let him decide what he wants to do. And that's when
But you took quite a few breaks. You had, I think, a couple of years hiatus. Then you came back to FIA F2, and then you had like a 15-year break, I think now, and come back. So what keeps bringing you back to this?
So I'll tell you where it started. So I remember approaching Mr. Akbar Brand, so he was gracious enough and taking me seriously, because sometimes, they don't take you seriously. They think, okay, it's somebody trying to indulge in some PR activity. And so he said, yeah, okay, he was willing to train me. So I started with the FISME, the Formula India single-seater Maruti cars in 2002. I did the whole season then.
Yeah.
So that was not, it's like very fulfilling. And the last race held, I think I finished fourth. And I think I won the Novice Cup, Best Novice Cup for that particular race. And then he encouraged me, and I had that year was, I think, Rajvardhan, who was my Rajvardhan was my teammate, and Mr. Vredestein Tyres son. So we decided to go as per Mr. Akbar's advice and to go to the BMW. That was the first year that BMW were coming out with their single make series, the Formula BMW.
Yeah.
The chassis were built by Team Williams, and the engines were BMW 1400cc motorcycle engines. So we did a test we were supposed to do the test at Valencia, but then it was shifted to Albacete in Jan 2003. So we did a test, and the timings were pretty decent, and that's when Akbar decided that we should give an entry and go for it.
Yeah.
I completed the whole season. So that was a complete season again.
I was just going to ask you, of all those things, because you've done F3, you've done F2, you've done Indian FISME, you've raced bikes. Which amongst them did you really enjoy? I'm saving this for last, okay? So I'm not including this. Which amongst them did you really enjoy the most?
I would say, I would say the FISME.
Yeah.
Because they were like real driving, no electronic aids, nothing. It's pure driving. You just have the throttle, you have the brakes.
Lift off, and you were sitting on the Shriperambur curbs.
Yeah. I've had a couple of flips. I've had some pretty bad, nasty accidents in the FISME. I think that was pure racing, And 2004 was when I decided, okay, let me go do racing in Europe, because that's where, the competition is fierce, and you get to understand where you figure in the whole. Whether you have the skills to go to a higher level. So my intention was I started racing very late. Racing four wheels. I was 32 when I started racing cars, which by then was late. To start racing cars. But since I did fairly recently, I thought, okay, British F3 would be. And you have the main series, and you have the scholarship class. The scholarship class cars are basically 3-year-old spec cars. The idea is to induct the new drivers, youngsters, to get a feel of the Formula 3 cars before they graduate onto the latest spec car. So I think it's now they termed it as national class, if I'm the right time. So scholarship class is what I did, but the races were run concurrent together, and they were classified differently. And I had the good fortune of landing up on P3 podiums twice. One was at Donington Park Circuit, and then the other one was at Knockhill Circuit. And it's so strange that we stand here and speak because it's raining. And my first win, or my first podium, was in the rain at Donington Park.
Racing dreams, raw emotion and relentless determination defined Ajith Kumar's unforgettable weekend at the Creventic 12-hour race at Spa-Francorchamps. One of the most iconic and challenging circuits in the world. Ajith's long-held ambition to race Spa finally came true, but the circuit didn't make it easy. Heavy rain lashed the track during practice, pushing drivers and machines to their limits. After a promising start, Ajith suffered a heavy crash at the infamous Eau Rouge, injuring his knee and writing off the car. It could have ended there, but it didn't. Displaying true racing spirit, Ajith's team, led by close friend and team boss Shiva Swaminathan, pulled off a near impossible turnaround. securing a new car from a different team, switching pits and working overnight to prep it for qualifying. With no time for custom livery and Ajith nursing an injury, they pressed on. Qualifying brought more challenges, engine failure, time running out, and red flags disrupting the session. But thanks to a heroic effort by Team Redant, the car made it back out in time. And with stunning laps from Matthew and Fabian, the team secured P3 in their class and 20th overall on a grid of 39. In a moment that captured his character, Ajith opted to let the pro drivers take the dry laps in qualifying, prioritizing the team's performance over personal track time. His humility and commitment inspired everyone around him. Through crashes, rain, injury and setbacks, Ajith Kumar didn't just race at Spa, he conquered it in spirit. You've seen the star status that Ajith has. You've seen how mega he is in India. How is it to have him as a teammate?
For us in Europe, Indian cinema industry is pretty like, how to say that, we don't know that much about it. And we always took him as a good friend because he really acts like that. He's so humble that you don't feel he's an actor. I mean, for me, and I think for you also, it's like, he feels like a normal guy who just want to live his passion, which is motorsport, very dedicated, and we barely speak about movie, to be honest. So it's super fun that we exchange about what we love. But I think I can understand a bit like how tough it should be for him to handle both, you know, like at the same time. So.
What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do?
And how is he as a teammate, as purely as a racer?
Is pretty good because he always wants to improve himself. He put his ego on the side because, you know, like movie stars or whatever, they start another thing. They think they are the best, you know, they have a lot of ego. But Ajith, no, he put everything on the side. He said, okay, I'm a rookie, I want to learn from you guys. And he take every information we give to him. So it's pretty cool. And also he's a very chill guy. I mean, we act like good friends. So yeah, we spend a lot of good times together.
Yeah. Dedication is something that I'm pretty impressed about him because he can watch the same video for like 10 hours. I mean, bad for our hearing because he's putting the volume like quite high. But no, he's very, very dedicated. And as you say, like you have a lot. I mean, in this sport, you know, you have different categories, and the gentleman driver, which is the category I would say of Ajith, most of them, they have like a super high ego. They say, okay, I pay for everything, so I'm the best. I don't need to listen, whatever. Ajith is the complete opposite. Very humble, sit, learn, wants to progress, and just follow the right process. So very impressed.
We caught up with Ajith once more for race day to find out what drives him to do the endurance series and start a team of his own. Great morning session hour, and I'm going to come to that in just a bit. But let's talk about this new path in your racing career. Having a team of your own is not the easiest thing to do. You know, when people are hanging up their helmet at this age, you've decided to go racing. So, you know, for what I think most of us find hard to grapple with is the fact is you are this mega star. You're at the top. Then to do something where, you know, with the weight of the world watching you, a million eyes on you, you come to something where, you know, it brings you to level playing field. It's not easy.
Where I'm a nobody. So leaving my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted, but
No, absolutely.
Honestly, I everything just happened, you know, so one thing led to another. I always wanted to get back to racing, but I didn't know how to go about it. And endurance racing is something which is new to we've heard of it. I mean, like the Le Mans, but to get back to endurance racing, I'm in racing term, like I'm too old for single seaters, right? So then some friends advised saying maybe I should look at endurance racing. So I was lucky. I happened to meet some people who were connected, who knew people who were into endurance racing. And so I moved to Dubai, and of course, between Chennai and Dubai. And so I happened to meet one Mr. Noel. He works for with a car dealership, and I happened to pick up a car there. It was Noel who introduced me to Fabian. Fabian also works for the same dealership. And so we got talking, and they said, Ajith, why don't you do a day's test at the Dubai Autodrome? So we organized a test in a Cup car, a Porsche Cup car, with a team. And Fabian, being a racing driver himself, who does the GT4 championships and the Creventic endurance series in Europe, he was pretty impressed with my timings, and so he even suggested that we look at teams in Europe too. But I somewhere felt that it could be better if I own a team, so we could actually be more in control of a lot of things. So it could be right from sharing the seat 10 that a driver gets, not just for myself, for the others as well. Because sometimes you're at the mercy of certain teams that may not give you the right platform. And that's how it all started. I still feel like, since I want to be a racing driver myself, handling logistics would be too much to take in. So it basically outsourced the rest of the ones. I mean, all the things that you would need to run a team, the mechanics, the cars, everything. And right from the registration with the different series. The reason I have based myself at Dubai is also since I started this racing team. Now we have 4 circuits very close by. You have the Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and of course the Dubai Autodrome. So it makes it easier for us as a team to visit these circuits, do track days and practice
as well.
So it made sense to be based out of Dubai,
for racing. Dubai was a great success, and you did something quite selfless there again, opting to not go in and race right at the end, and letting the team.
See, we were doing pretty well in practice for the Dubai race. So we were 4 drivers. That was Matthew, Fabian, Cameron, myself, and we were doing pretty well until I had a crash in the practice session 2 days before the race. And the car was written off, and so unfortunately. So what we decided was, or rather what we as a team decided, was that I stepped back because we knew we had a chance at the podium. So I don't want to ruin for my team. So and I wanted the race experience as well. So we tried to see if we could get another Cup car where I could drive for another team. Unfortunately, there were no Cup cars. But we managed. We met Mr. Dominic, who runs a team called Razun Racing, from Austria. He was kind enough, and he managed to put a team together just 2 days before the race.
Wow.
But that was like, in the GT4 class. As you know, the endurance series, I mean, they have different classes, and the races are run together and classified. So you have the GT3, you have the Cup car, Porsche Cup car, then the GT4.
And LMP cars as well.
Yeah, so LMP cars as well. So, and it was a 24-hour race, which day and night, which I didn't want to miss out on. And we were aware that there were a lot of fans who would be coming to watch the races. And it was very overwhelming to see the circuit filled with 45,000 people. And I remember a lot of people telling me, no, it doesn't matter. Even Fabian and Matthew were against me stepping back. They said, no, we don't want you to start your season on a negative note. It's okay if we don't, get the podium or don't finish it. I mean, we're here as a team. But I thought that would be a very selfish call to take, So I said, no, it's okay. I will race, but let me do the GT4. You guys go ahead. And that's how it happened. And we were fortunate enough. The boys drove well. Everything went for us. And we finished P3 in the Porsche Cup class. And we finished 4th. You have the Pro, you have the Pro AM, and in the AM class, amateur class, we call the gentleman drivers. So we got the P3 in the AM class. And the team that I was driving for the car, that we could have finished P1.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there was an accident, and when Razul was doing his stint and the car caught fire. But the team managed to put the car together, and in spite of a 3.5-hour deficit, so we were again 3 drivers. We all did our 8 hours mandatory stints together, and we finished P4.
Amazing.
So in spite of a 3.5-hour deficit, we managed a P4. Getting a P3 there would have been
Exceptional.
But it's okay, it is what it is. So I'm not.
But then you did well again in Mugello?
Mugello, we finished P3, and yes, so in Mugello, I kind of redeemed myself because it so happened that I had to finish the last stint of 1 hour and 20 minutes. And our team was in P1 when I took over, and they were very clear. Ajith, it's okay. We know we only have a 27-second lead, and with the deficit that I have being an AM, because what happens is most of the team put their they begin the race with their pro drivers and end their race with a pro driver. It so happened due to, the team strategy was great, but it so happened that Matthew had to finish his stint and Fabian, and then I had to take over. And we were being practical. They said, okay, I'm going to be racing against the pro drivers in the other team. So, and with a deficit of 3.5-4 seconds, it would probably take them 10 laps to catch up with me. They said, give it your best shot. Don't stress yourself. Try to just finish the race. And so when we finished, I was 2 seconds behind P2.
Wow.
And 2.9 seconds ahead of P4. So which means that I could have finished P2, but I could have also finished P4. That's how close
the race is.
So in a way, I kind of redeemed myself from the fiasco that happened in Dubai.
It's very humble of you to keep saying I've redeemed myself. You're doing great things as is. And I don't think, at this age, coming back into racing is not easy. It requires physical fitness. It requires mental fitness. It requires intense focus. And you have still so much more happening in your life. You still have your movies happening and everything. So it's not an easy process. How do you manage to balance all of that?
To make it easier or to make it possible, I have decided not to do films during the racing season. So we have the racing season begins in March and goes on either until mid-September or the mid of October. So which gives me time to finish or put in a project from, let's say, October until Feb or March of the next year before this.
To start racing again.
Before I start racing again.
It's pretty intensive.
It is extremely.
And you've lost crazy amounts of weight to be able to race. So you've done
51 kilograms in the last 8 months.
Wow, that it's crazy. Pressure can do crazy things to you. And you have a million eyes watching you at any given point of time. Action seems to be your thing, whether in movies or on the track. And, everybody knows you're the hero there. You're the guy who comes in and solves all issues. And then to come to a place like this, and, sometimes racing is ups and downs and you have successes and things go wrong. How do you deal with that pressure?
It's the same as the film industry. We act, we give our heart and soul for every film. It doesn't matter, our efforts are the same. I say it very modestly. Yes, okay, 32 years in the film business, I attained a decent amount of success in my career. But sometimes
thank you.
But see, that time at times you tend to get carried away with all the attention that you get, and so it's nice to leave your comfort zone once in a while, come back, pursue something where you're a nobody. Here I am a nobody. And to put yourself I wouldn't say force yourself, to choose to come out of your comfort zone and do something like this where you're a nobody. And then to try and get to the best of your own abilities. And in my case, my aim is to get to the highest level possible in terms of my own abilities. So I had never said I'm one of the best race car drivers in our country, or no. I'm trying to be better than I was with every
Step of the way.
Step of the way. So if you look at all my injuries and all my surgeries that I have undergone, or the injuries I have sustained, have all happened mostly performing on stunts, and I like to involve myself, do my own stunts. But it happens. And so do I quit? Like a lot of people say, oh, racing is so dangerous. Why are you doing it? Now, do I quit the industry just because I have hurt myself many moments? That's the challenging part. You're passionate about something, you pursue it in spite of all the obstacles that come your way. And the same with racing. Yes, you will crash. If you are a race car driver, you will have some bad days, and sometimes it can demotivate you. It can demotivate the people associated with you, be it the team or people following you. But there is a saying that if you're not crashing, then you're not pushing, you're not
getting to your limit.
You're not getting to your limits. Not just your limits, the limit of the car as well. So it's a part of the package. And the only difference between firms and racing is in racing there are no retail.
There was much excitement and crowds in the pit lane on the race day. But before he went to race, we caught up with Ajith Kumar for a quick round of rapid fire. We're going to go into a round of Racing Hearts Rapid Fire brought to you by Vredestein. Which is your most favorite track in the world?
Spa.
And if you had to race what is the one race that you feel that I wish I could do this?
Monaco.
As far as racing series go, which is the kind of racing series you'd like to do?
I'm currently in one, the Creventic, because I'm going by my abilities, right? I'm not talking about Creventic definitely because it's a very challenging series, and in future definitely the GT3. It could be the Creventic or you have the World Endurance, the World Challenge. So it depends on the budget, depends on a lot of other things. But yeah, a GT3 World Challenge will also be one of the series that I look at.
Yeah. One word to describe the feeling when you get behind the wheel of your racing car.
Focus.
Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen?
Lewis Hamilton, and Max is great as well, but Lewis definitely.
What's your favorite supercar brand?
I will always have a soft corner towards McLaren because Senna drove for them and won his 3 World Championships. I would say 4. He was robbed of 1, so I would say McLaren definitely.
Okay, what's your current daily driver?
Back in India, I drive a Discovery Sport. In Dubai, of course, I drive a McLaren 750, a GT3 Porsche with a Vice pack. SF90 and what's the other one? The SVJ, Lamborghini SVJ.
What's the one car you want to add to your collection?
McLaren Senna.
What's the one thing to never do at a racetrack?
Not to take your driving skills for granted because I would say every lap is a new lap. I mean, every lap is a new lap. And like I said, like you focus, you don't lose your focus.
Thank you so much for sharing your time, sharing your garage, giving us full access into your life of racing. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. And we'd like to present you with this little hamper we have for you from Vredestein. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and a joy being at this weekend with you.
Thank you so much. And I hope corporates like them come forward to sponsor racing,
Absolutely. We'll shake on that.
Thanks.
Well, it's not easy being a race car driver. Through the snippets of this show, you would have seen how difficult it is, the trials and tribulations you have to go through, how a megastar has to put his ego completely aside and be just one of the pack. Trust me, it's not easy. I've been here, I've witnessed it, and it's incredible. This is a team built on deep camaraderie, hours of debriefs, lap video reviews, driver change drills, with each member pushing the other to be better is what makes them exceptional. Strategic planning with Red Ant Boss the night before decided that Ajith and Fabian would handle day 1 out of the 2 days of the 12-hour endurance Creventic race. Pro driver Matthew restricted to only 4 hours across the 2 days, it was better to save him for the last few stints. Race day 1 began with fan frenzy, crowds cheering, Thala with every wave. On the track, Fabian fought hard, but the team slipped to P5. Ajith, still shaken from the crash, drove cautiously, clocking 2:39s, while other competitors in his category were clocking 2-minute 31s. resulted in the team losing more time, and a penalty earned for a fuel station error just made it worse. The team fell to P8. But Fabian clawed back with a brilliant closing stint, ending day 1 in P6. Day 2 brought redemption. Matthew flew through the field, executing perfect overtakes and pushing the team up to P5. But another penalty followed, this time for track limits. Ajith got in next and the drama peaked. A botched intercom connection during a pit stop cost precious seconds. But then came the moment of the weekend. Ajith, defying injury and pressure, slashed his lap times from the previous day, clocking consistent 2:28s and bringing the team up to P4. Matthew returned and pushed the team into P2, and with 30 minutes left, hope soared. But then more chaos ensued with a code 60 neutralizing the field. It would have extended Matthew's stint beyond the 4-hour limit. So Fabian had to jump in for a final run. Another flawless pit stop and Fabian was flying until disaster struck just minutes from the end. Another car ignored the blue flags and collided with him. Team was gutted. Racing is ruthless and unpredictable. The incident, however, triggered another code 60, freezing the field with only 2 laps to go. And the race was called early. So miraculously, the team had done enough to finish P2 in class. As heartbreak turned to disbelief, Ajith Kumar stood tall, consoling Fabian, rallying the team and reminding everyone, this is what racing is: brutal, beautiful and unforgettable. So, Ajith, a roller coaster of a weekend, ups, downs, but a fantastic finish to it at the end. Just talk us through the emotions of this weekend.
It was quite a roller coaster ride, that the whole week was like, even if we had to script it, it wouldn't have been so dramatic.
Yeah.
Coming from the film industry, we see these kind of things happening in movies. But this was like, and then during the crash, I hurt my left knee, and we had the engine change, and then getting used to the circuit and learning the circuit in the dry. So a lot of things happening, and then of course, but towards the end of the race, we were. I think when I went out my stint, we were P4 on the second day. P5, I think I gained a place, and then Matthew went out. He gained a place. We were on P3 when the leader of the pack, a car, backed up. So then we were placed P2. Unfortunately, I think it was about 12 to 14 minutes before the race was to end, Fabian had an accident while overlapping a slower car. And we thought, that's it, okay, this is how it ends. And mentally prepared for a DNF. Then we were told that, we were classified P2.
They call the race a stop.
The race ended on whatever. They go by the time and the number of laps completed. Yeah, it was very overwhelming for the whole team. Been through every emotion possible, So I think I take back some very fond memories from Spa.
It's
and to be on the podium in a circuit like Spa-Francorchamps.
Well, to be on the podium as a new team is quite commendable, and you've done it now thrice.
Yeah.
So I think, a lot of people in the audience, in the pits, and you had masses of fans coming to watch this race. We saw that entire. So does it make you happy, when all these fans come? Because you've consistently said that I want the sport to get recognized.
A lot of people think racing is fun. They're having fun, they're going racing. It isn't fun at all. It's a lot of hard work. It's mentally and physically. It can
very demanding.
Very demanding. Just like the film industry, I always say that. Very demanding profession. And if you're not on it 100%, there's no way you can set goals and achieve them. And I'm pursuing my passion. I wouldn't want to fake it saying I'm doing this to promote the sport back home. I'm pursuing something which I really love. And since I have been a part of the film industry for the last 33 years, I hope the fans who've been following me all these years, watching my films, will get inquisitive to know what is it that I'm doing on the racing circuit. In doing so, I hope they start to follow motorsports as well.
It's not easy being a team principal, owning the team and running in it too, because as you said, this weekend has shown us that so many things that you have to keep in your mind about teams, changing teams, financing the team, other drivers, their careers, and then still sit in the car and race. How does that
It
cannot be
does.
easy.
It's always there. I mean, it's easy for people to say, oh, it's okay, put it behind you, focus on the focus on the race. But it's difficult, being a team principal, try to organize the funds for, to ensure that we complete the season. Like any other business, I think it will take a couple of years for us to establish the team. And what I wish to do right now is establish the team as a credible team, capable of winning championships or putting endurance racing on the global map. Like as far as India is concerned, like at least try and make sure that we bring in an audience in India, because in India it's only single seaters that are popular, like single seater racing. So if endurance racing can get popular with the people, then I'm sure then sponsors would want to put their money and capitalize on the visibility. And then I've been often asked about, would there be an Indian driver in the team? Yes, it's not just Indian drivers. We want to hire the best drivers in the world. I mean, right now, Fabian and Matthew, they're Dutch. So tomorrow it could be a French, it could be a Brit driver, but yes, we will have an Indian on board. I'm finding it difficult, trying to ensure that we're not a team that just comes, participates in one season and then go off the radar. At least for the next 3-4 years, I want to run the team, as an owner and be a driver. I would like to drive for as long as I can. Like you saw on the grid, there were drivers who were 60 plus and pretty quick, very, very quick. So I'm not in a rush to seek sponsorship, and I would like to earn it.
But you've chosen to invest yourself, not only in the team, but also actually paying the drivers, hiring the drivers professionally.
Taking
and not really asking them to bring in.
No, because I have been a driver. I have struggled in the initial stages of, when I raced in Formula 2, the British Formula 3, trying to, get funds to enable me to participate. It's very difficult being a driver and then, having to worry about the finances. So I don't want, as a team owner, I want to establish a team, which means we need results. Now imagine having a driver, putting him under pressure, saying, okay, you bring in the money, then you get a seat. I want them to do what they love to do and be on it 100%. If racing is what they love to do, just race. Don't worry about anything else.
After this crazy weekend, what was that feeling holding the flag, the Indian flag up on the podium? Success after all the trials and tribulations.
We all work hard. Be it the driver the drivers who are on the podium or the drivers who finish last. The effort is pretty much the same. Everyone puts in the same amount of effort. Sometimes you have good days, you have bad days. I feel extremely proud, blessed. And like I say, God is kind, He's very merciful, and you put in your 100%, you put in your efforts, the results will have to come. It will come, there's no doubt about it.
This new team with relatively, not that much experience has come in and stood on the podium 3 times over through all the hardships. Happy with the success the team has had and looking forward to the rest of the season?
Of course, I'm happy and very grateful to the universe, to the Almighty. We've been lucky. I mean, sometimes luck also plays a very important role. Yes, we've been extremely hardworking, be it Matthew, Fabian, myself, the team, be it Bascotin, or now Redant, because now the rest of the season we're going ahead with Redant racing. We're all working hard, but 3 consecutive podiums is something that even we didn't expect it, honestly. Like we knew we would do well. We have a good team, but to be on the podium on 3 consecutive occasions is something that has surprised us as well. I hope this winning streak continues and we make everyone proud.
Spending the weekend behind the scenes with Ajith Kumar Racing Team left me with a deep and lasting respect for the man beyond the superstar image. In a sport that demands resilience, precision and emotional control, Ajith stood tall, not just as a racer, but as a leader, a teammate and a human being. Despite battling pain from a crash and an injured knee, he never once let the weight of his emotions show. Off the track, he stood in the cold for hours, patiently meeting fans, taking photos and greeting everyone with warmth, never once showing his discomfort or seeking attention for himself. For a man who has achieved iconic status in cinema and commands a massive following, his humility and compassion are what set him apart even more. Shortly after the race, Ajith Kumar was conferred with the Padma Bhushan, one of India's highest civilian honours. A recognition not just for his achievements, but for the way he carries them. Watching him through this challenging weekend, it was clear this honour couldn't be more deserved.